Everybody, thank you for tuning into the TML Domain podcast. This is episode 7 of season 4. And what are we really going to talk about other than last night's Boston Bruins game? What a debacle the NHL has turned into. It's officiating is by far at its lowest point. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore, man. I honestly don't know what to say anymore. It's the NHL is a trash league with horrible officiating. Just I don't know when the shift happened, but they went from calling penalties to managing games. It seemed like almost overnight. And Brad Marchand, sticks his stick in between Liljegren's legs, fully can opener, lifts him off his feet, puts him into the board's leg first, and the guy's injured. And then the guy has the balls to get up and point around to the refs and be like, I didn't do anything. That guy, he went into the boards all by himself. Nobody touched anyone. And the stupid part is the refs are genuinely confused. Meanwhile, Wes McCauley was literally less than 10 feet away, staring at the play from less than 10 feet away. Shall we take a look at it? Shall we take a look at it? Let's take a look at it together. Um, Wes McCauley is literally standing right there. They skated by Wes McCauley, and then Brad Marchand stuck his stick in between the legs of Liljegren and lifted him off his feet. Wes McCauley was literally standing right there staring at these two, and he missed that penalty call. If you're telling me the NHL has good officiating, I don't know what to tell you, man. The guy was standing right there. Look at that stick go underneath his leg, and he lifted him up in a can opener. That is 100% a penalty. But Brad Marchand, who's the biggest rat in the NHL, who has a history of licking guys on the ice, slew-footing guys on the ice, hurting players, like he has a laundry list of being dirty. But guess what? He's the captain of the Bruins now, gets the benefit of the doubt in this situation. Gross incompetence. If you're that blind, if you're that stupid, if you're that biased, don't officiate in the NHL. Wes McCauley is one of the worst referees in the NHL. All because he's like animated for fighting. Get this loser out of the league. Somebody legitimately got injured. Timothy Liljegren is going to miss significant time. This is not I'm a Leafs fan and a Leaf player got hurt issue. This is a player safety issue. You have to protect the players. Just like you want to protect them from the skate blades and you want to put neck guards on, you want to put anti-cut sleeves underneath the players. There's a lot of things that you do for player safety. Why isn't this part of player safety? When it's brought up in the intermission, Elliot Friedman says, well, you can't suspend him because when has anybody been suspended for a play that looked like that? If that's your only rationalization for not penalizing a player. It is literally, you are part of the problem. You are that stupid. How have you been watching hockey for 20, 30 years? And we've seen the evolution of hockey where we don't want hits to the head. We don't want players with CTE. We don't want concussions. But this is okay. We took the can opener out of the NHL God knows how many years ago. Brian McKay was can opening people all over the ice. I know, I'm a Leafs fan. I was watching Brian McCabe do it. But now, this is perfectly legal. Brad Marchand in this moment gets the benefit of the doubt. And then Bruins fans, who are the biggest homers in the history of homers, come online and they go, well, Liljegren initiated the contact. What difference does it make? God forbid you should push against somebody who's going to push you into the boards. That's hockey 101. You know what's not hockey 101? Putting your stick in between someone's legs, lifting them off their feet, ankle first into the boards. The NHL is a garbage league. It's bush league at best. Whether it's ECHL, listen, the NHL is on par with the AHL and the ECHL. AHL, when I watch the AHL, I know what the product is, and I know what I'm watching. In the AHL, not everything gets called. It's a little bit more scrappy. It's a little bit more gritty. And to play in the AHL, you can be a skilled guy, but you're going to get a bunch of guys who are in their late 20s and 30s who are career AHLers that are going to be running you on a nightly basis. So the AHL is a little bit of a grittier league. That's why not everybody kind of flourishes in the AHL when they have tons of skill and young guys get put there. But I expect better of the NHL. This is a league that's supposed to be showcasing their skill. And guys like this, the Boston Bruins, turned the biggest rat in the NHL, the biggest turtle, because God forbid he should ever drop the gloves with and pay up for a moment like this. He won't. He's going to turtle like Matthew Tkachuk, like Brady Tkachuk, and this guy. They're the three rats of the NHL that can do whatever they want to do and never get penalized for it. This is gross negligence. How many times has this poor guy been smashed into the boards this week? This guy smashed from Timothy Liljegren got smashed from behind into the boards in the Nashville game. Nothing. When is somebody going to protect the players? This is not a hockey play. This is a can opener, and it was removed from the NHL. But guess what? Brad Marchand gets away with it because not only is he the biggest rat that gets away with everything, not only do the Bruins get away with everything because their owner owns the NHL. Gary Bettman literally couldn't raise his voice to the owner of the Boston Bruins if his life depended on it. It's gross. The NHL has turned into a garbage product, and this happens to other teams and other players on a nightly basis. I'm not saying this is just a big issue because it happened to a Leaf. It happens to a lot of players. Laine got concussed on a late dirty play. The game's over. Why are you checking to the head? And then you get McAvoy, who just took a guy's head off for no reason. He got 4 games, which is a joke. Nazem Kadri got more for less. But anyways, here's one thing that nobody on television is ever going to show you. Here's something nobody on television is going to show you. Because the people on television are going to bitch and scream. Toughness, toughness, toughness. The Leafs got Reeves. They got Domi. They got Bertuzzi. Nobody did nothing. Nobody talked to Brad Marchand. Nobody pushed Brad Marchand. Nobody did anything. They talk about toughness, toughness, snot, whatever word you want to come up with it. It's snot this year. It's truculence before, God knows. Here is where the referee is standing. Look where the referee is standing. Look how close the referee is to the play when it happens. He's staring directly at the play when this is happening. Less than 10 feet away. The NHL has the best referees, my ass. Look at this. Look where Wes McCauley, number 4, is standing and where the play happened. And you missed the stick between the legs? But anyways, here, check this out. So here's Brad Marchand later in the game going for a dirty hit on Klingberg, and no one's going to show you this. Watch what Klingberg does here. Look at Brad Marchand fall and try to get a penalty. Look at how big of a loser this guy is. Look, he goes for the hit. He goes for the head hit on Klingberg. Klingberg says, no, thank you. Trips him. He falls because he's soft, trying to get penalties. He's a diver. And then Klingberg turns around and just launches him into the boards because he's that soft and he's that weak and he's that big of a loser, Brad Marchand. He goes for the elbow to the head. He misses. Klingberg puts him on his ass twice. No one's going to show you this. Klingberg is the only guy that pushed Brad Marchand last night. Nobody else stepped up to do it. Nobody else stepped up to do it. Not a single person. Nobody else stepped up to do this. Not Domi, not Bertuzzi, not Reeves, not nobody. Hold on, I think there's another. I think there's another view of that. Look. You see this? Soon as I saw these two referees were refereeing the game, I knew for a fact that something was going to happen. Soon as I saw these two names. Francois Saint Laurent, horrible referee. Look at that picture. Wes McCauley, another loser. Check this. Watch this. Watch it and enjoy it the way I do. Yeet! Get out of here, you soft pipsqueak of a rat. Look at this. Twice. Oh, there's a skate on my stick. I better fall, try to get a penalty. Oh, I better fly backwards into the boards like I was catapulted out of a cannon. Try to get another penalty. Look at how big of a loser this guy is. He's the captain of a original 6 franchise. It just shows you what the Bruins value. Bruins. They value that kind of leadership. That's the kind of leadership they value. They say, we want a loser who's going to try to dive all the time, and at the end of the game, in overtime, when Pasternak's skating with Nylander, and Nylander just goes like this, and he turns around and falls face first with like substance, like somebody pushed him. Nobody did nothing, but they dive. They're losers. The Boston Bruins the league is so fixed for them that they could be first place in this division with Arizona's lineup. It doesn't matter what lineup the Bruins play. They always play less games than everybody. They always have games on hand. Their schedule is super likable. The easiest schedule by far. They always get a bunch of soft teams to start off the season so they can kind of just ramp their way up. Just everything is built for the Bruins. And guess what? They still couldn't win the game in regulation last night, even though they're like 39-1-1 after leading after one period. Because why? Because the Leafs in the second period probably played their best period of the season so far, and they started skating, they started forechecking, and Marner and Matthews got 2 goals. William Nylander, who is the Leafs' second best player right now, yes, Matthews, Nylander, Marner. Other than last night, he played good. He hasn't shown up at all this season. I don't know how he's going to start his negotiations at $12 million in the offseason. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, that's literally the situation right now. The Leafs, all they had to do was turn it on for a period, and it was 2-2, and the Bruins couldn't score after that because Samsonov played good. Samsonov 38 saves out of 40 for a 950 save percentage night, and he had tons to deal with. So all the Samsonov haters out there who have just tossed him aside because they think Woll is the answer, we saw last game Woll is not the answer, and he's still young, he's still got a ways to go, he's got a lot of promise. He's going to be a good goalie, but he's not the kind of guy that you can just hand over 40 games, 40 to 50 games and just say, hey, you're the starter. The team's not consistent enough and he's not consistent enough. So unfortunately, you need a tandem. You need 2 good goalies, and that's what the Leafs have, are 2 good goalies. It's so the Bruins game was always against the Bruins. It's a debacle, but the Leafs didn't have a good game to start the week, coming off that long road trip. Against LA, they look dead tired, and there's not much Joseph Woll can do in a situation like that. I don't know. I don't think, in my opinion, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy. He'll have really good games here and there, but I don't think he's ready to kind of sustain a night like that where the Leafs are tired and they don't have it at all, and he has to really carry the team. So it was a rough night. But on Saturday, they're playing. I believe they're playing the Sabres, so that's going to be a fun night. And then next week we got a good week. We got Tampa, Ottawa, Calgary, Vancouver. 4 games, a lot of hockey. Tampa and Ottawa are rivals, and then the Leafs are off to Sweden, and there's like 2 games in 2 weeks or something like that. So it's next for the next week, from Saturday to Saturday, we're going to get 5 games, and then it's going to be a little lean watching the Leafs in Sweden. They got a 2 p.m. game on a Friday and an 8 a.m. game on a Sunday. I don't know. I don't think I've ever watched an 8 a.m. game on a Sunday, but I have no problems waking up, going down into the man cave, eggs and bacon on a tray, nice cup of coffee. Let's watch a hockey game on a Sunday, boys. What do you guys think about that? You guys tell me what you think about the Friday 2 p.m. start and the Sunday 8 a.m. start. I've never really, I don't think I've ever experienced it, so this might be my first time, and I'm gonna make a thing of it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my Facebook feed or the videos of my basement, but we got a pretty cool Maple Leaf man cave down there, so I don't mind going into the theater seats and putting up my legs and having the tray and the breakfast and the cup of coffee and just watching a game against the Minnesota Wild. I don't know how the Leafs are gonna play. It's 8 a.m. for us. It's not 8 a.m. over there, so maybe the week and a half they have there is enough to acclimatize them to the time change, and they start on time. These are all big games. We need the points. The Atlantic Division is all over the place, and a lot of teams getting points right now, and the Leafs can't really afford to fall behind. I think it's still very early to really come up with any serious conclusions about the roster. I think at 20 games you can start forming your conclusions, and between 20 to 30 you can have a real solid idea of what this team is. And I hope it's going to be better than this because the bottom six forwards are not doing their job. Bertuzzi looked horrible. He was put on the fourth line last night. And, you know, after watching last night's game, you know, if Reeves is not going to do anything on the ice and he's just going to get absolutely caved in 5-on-5 because he gets hemmed in his own zone because he can't play hockey at all, send this guy down to the Marlies, recoup the money, bring up a McMahon, bring up a Robertson, get some more shooters on the team, get some more speed on the team, and just overall young guys that are hungry. There's nothing wrong with having young guys that are hungry. And, my key takeaway from how the season has started is Sheldon Keefe is not a good coach. He might be a good coach in a different situation, but this team is never ready, always starts late. For some reason, it looks like Sheldon Keefe or somebody has put the muzzle on the boys in terms of, hey, Reed started the season with like 3 games and 3 fights, and they were like, guys, stop getting into scrums. It seems like somebody's been told, or the team has been told by somebody to calm it down, and it doesn't make any sense. It's time to send Reeves down. You got Gregor who's flying out there. Holmberg looks okay. He's making plays. He's not bad defensively. And just bring up Robertson, bring up McCann, bring up a Steeves, bring up some young people that are hungry. These kids will finish their checks. These kids are fast on the forecheck. They will put you into the boards. They will create turnovers. They've had to grind it out in the AHL, which is a very gritty league. It's not like the NHL where it's just pretty passing plays in top of the corner. It doesn't work like that in the AHL. These guys have played long enough where they realize that they have to go into the corners, they have to stick lift, they have to separate people from pucks, they have to just, circulate. They have to cycle the puck to create scoring chances, and you have to get in front of the net and you have to just score ugly, and they do that a lot. This season, a little bit more. You see Robertson ripping pucks from the face-off circles and into the net. But in general, scoring pretty in the AHL is not a real thing. It's not a feasible thing. Bring up these young guys who have played in that system, and you need guys like that. This bottom six is not good enough, and the defense is definitely not good enough. It's soft all around. And most Leaf fans bought everything they sold us in the offseason, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, you need to get tougher. You need to do this. You need to be grittier. You need to Bertuzzi, Domi, Reeves. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All the stuff that they sold you that you bought hook, line, and sinker is complete garbage. If you don't do it as a team, if everybody doesn't jump into the scrum, it doesn't work. Signing Reeves for 3 years at 1.3 or 1.4 or whatever the hell he signed for is a waste of money. He's not going to infect everybody else on the team to start jumping into scrums and protecting their players. Like the Leafs back in the day had McCabe jump into the scrubs, Tucker, Gary Roberts. You had a bunch of guys. Travis Green. You had a bunch of guys. Shane Corson. A bunch of guys that would do this. The Leafs weren't just a team where they had one tough guy, Ty Domi, and that was it. That's not how the Leafs were ever built. And any time the Leafs have been tough, they had a Gilmore, they had a Wendell Clark, they had a bunch of guys on the team that would all come at you. It was a team mentality. And this coach is not the coach to teach you that mentality. I see the Bruins coach, and it's just It's structured. It's it's a structured game. Sheldon Keefe has been the coach for so many years, and the Leafs are very unstructured. They cannot figure it out. They're not taught properly. This is the coach's fault. It's not the player's fault. The players can only do so much, but at the end of the day, you have to play with a certain structure, and there's my way or the highway. And Sheldon Keefe the Leafs just need to go get a coach like the one the Bruins have, or the one in Minnesota, or the one that's coaching Vegas. Just go get a guy who plays with a structure. The Leafs need structure. They're so all over the place, and then sometimes it's individual rushes, and like you see the Leafs sometimes they have the puck and then the guy drops it back. There's no defenseman there, and then all of a sudden the defenseman throws it across and there's no winger there, and it's unstructured, pure chaos. I don't know how they win as many games as they do. I don't know how they score as much as they do. Maybe it's a testament to how much skill is actually on this team. But please, for the love of God, go out and get a coach who teaches structure. It's insane to keep playing hockey this way. It's not how hockey is meant to play. It's not winning hockey. It might be fun and entertaining for the regular season, but I know what the results are going to be in the playoffs with this kind of team. It's not going to be good. There's no structure. You have to have structure in moments where your players break down in key moments, and the other team has the puck in your zone. If you don't have structure, if everybody doesn't know where to go and what to do to turn over that puck and get it out, then it just becomes pure chaos. Just like you saw on the Bruins goal, where the guy just cycles around, throws it in front, and the guy reaches around Klingberg and taps it into an empty net because the goalie is face to face with the shooter and the net is wide open. There's 4 Maple Leafs standing in a box, and the Bruins player is right in the middle, and nobody has a stick on him, a hand on him, or a body on him. It's structure. There's no structure. Leafs need to get a coach who knows what he's doing. Sheldon Keefe is in way over his head. And I'm pretty sure Brad Treliving knows this, and there was zero time to get a new coach in. For the season, I have zero doubt in my mind that this is Sheldon Keefe's last season as coach of the Maple Leafs. And that's the week that was, ugly in LA, scrappy in Boston. Not scrappy as in they actually scrapped, scrappy as in, when the Bruins went up 2-0, you thought the game was over, but it turns out the Leafs had some fight back, and Samsonov saved their tail last night. Thank God for Ilya Samsonov. I like the guy a lot, only because I've seen him do it. If you just go look up his stats or watch the highlights from Game 6 versus Tampa when the Leafs clinched that series, Ilya Samsonov was playing injured, and he played out of his mind, and he played better than Vasilevsky. And that's why the Leafs won. He only let in 1 goal, and he had like a 967 save percentage or something like that. It was unreal. And that's the week that was. The next week we're going to have a lot to talk about. We have 4 games, and then we have Sweden. I actually looked in to go into Sweden. It's very expensive, but I wanted to go. Hang out in Stockholm, walk around, maybe catch a Maple Leaf or 2, but it wasn't meant to be. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys watching the content. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and if you have any topics you want me to talk about, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to put it in the comments, and we'll get to them next week. How about that William Nylander, eh? About time he got paid 10-point streak to start the season. Had never happened in the history of the franchise. Time to pay this guy. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you next week.